Hello, friends, and welcome to the space where we discuss business, landscaping, beer, and everything in between. I'm your host, Heather Gerard from My Landscape Artist here in London, Ontario, Canada. And this is Season 2 of Hops and Hedges. Stay tuned after each episode for a message from our sponsor, ext.tech. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now crack open a cold one, and let's dig in. There we go. With me today is the one, the only, Jay McKinnon. You get a special introduction, Jay. That's just for you. I don't do that for all my guests.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that, Heather. Thanks for having me.
So, welcome on the show. I know we've been trying to do it for a while, but us people in the landscaping profession, we're a tad busy in
Well, yeah,
spring,
things come up and you have to reschedule, and then you think you can do it later,
right?
and then it's just is what it is, right? So,
It is what it is.
so I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Yes, me too. And April, May, June is just bonkers, especially this year. We've been fighting rain,
Yeah,
and a number of other things. So
yeah, for sure. It was a late
but
spring, that's for sure. So,
it is, but it's finally here. No more snow, no
yeah.
more frost. Knock on wood.
Ah,
Knock on wood. So Jay, I've known you for a while, pretty much since I started, actually. So I was at Fanshawe from 2013 to 2016, and I met you in either 2016 or 2017 through
yeah,
Jay
probably.
Zare at Rural
Yeah,
Roots Landscaping.
absolutely.
So
Good
how
friend of
time
mine, Jay.
flies.
That's for sure.
Yep, shout
Yeah.
out to Jay. I'm still pulling his leg to get on the show. We'll get him. We'll get him. I might have to buy him a beer, but we'll make it
There you
happen.
go.
So Jay, you're Jay McKinnon Company. You're based in like Strathroy, London area, and you just hit your 20-year milestone.
We are celebrating 20 years this year. Yes, correct.
Holy freaking smokes. Congrats, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for us. You never know where you're going to end up. Starting as a small business, with a wheelbarrow in the back of a pickup truck, that's what I did, starting ground up.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's just slowly worked its way up, and now we're here, 20 years,
Wow. It gives me hope because I'm starting with a wheelbarrow and a Honda Civic.
right? Well, that's good. That's good. You'll get there. You'll get the pickup or the small trailer, one or the other.
I'm actually hoping for a cube van.
Hey,
So
hey,
I
go with the
do a lot
minivans.
of
The
minivans,
minivans
yeah.
are bulletproof.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. So Jay, for people who are tuning in who aren't familiar with your company or you personally, can you give us the lowdown as to who you are and what your company does?
My name is Jay McKinnon. I'm owner operator at Jay McKinnon Company, based in Strathroy. We work all over southwestern Ontario. We've hit Woodstock a lot, up to Grand Bend and Bayfield, down to Port Stanley. We've been down to Point Pelee. We are a design build operation.
Yep.
So we have our own designer on staff as well as myself, and we pull together some fantastic projects. We push the envelope in design and construction, trying to make things a little bit interesting,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little unique, mixing materials or different styles or whatever it is, and it seems to be working for us.
Awesome.
So yeah, like we said earlier, celebrating 20 years and looking forward to what the future brings.
Awesome. Well, big congrats to you. 20 years is a really big deal. And a lot of
Mm,
companies fizzle out. I mean, I'm only this is my this year is my fifth year milestone for my own business.
good,
And that was a
very
big
good.
one for me. And it's so inspiring having people, not just on the show, but through Landscape Ontario, the peer-to-peer network, who are in these like multi-generational families, like family businesses, or people who have been there 40, 50 years in business. Like it just blows my mind. It blows my mind.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
surrounded
Yeah,
by
no, and that's
pretty
just
awesome
it.
people.
It's time and effort, right? Time and effort to get you there, and a little bit of compromise sometimes, a little bit of integrity, and you'll make it. Everybody does.
Absolutely. And you just mentioned you've got another designer on staff, and that's Crystal, right?
Yes,
Yep. So I've
yep,
met her
Crystal.
at lots of different Landscape Ontario events, a very talented designer.
Yep.
So trying to pull her leg to get on the show as well. So
Oh, perfect.
We'll get a couple of plugs for J. McKinnon Company.
Oh,
So
that's perfect.
most
Yeah,
of the time.
Crystal's fabulous. She's been with me for, I think this is her 13th year.
Holy
She might correct
smokes!
me at 14, but I think it's around there. But yeah, no, she's been around for a while. The timing with her jumping on board was fabulous, because I was just overwhelmed, right?
Yeah,
Business was growing, and it worked out for both our schedules to start her out. And we pulled her out of a garden center, and now she's doing some wonderful designs. So
man, that is cool that she's been with you for 13 out of 20 years.
yeah,
That's really
well,
cool.
it is, and I had a good run earlier with some other employees,
Yep,
lasted, quite some time. And, life goes on, things change.
yep,
Can't expect it to stay like that forever, but, yeah, it was a good core group to get us off the ground. And, and now we're flying. So
awesome.
it's been
And you
good.
do like your landscape, your design, your install, but you also do garden maintenance, you do pools, you do ponds,
Yep.
lighting, irrigation. Like you are a full service operation.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we're not cutting grass. We're not grass cutters. That's never been something that I wanted to bring into our company.
Yep,
Um,
me too. I
because
think I
we
got
are,
that from you.
yeah,
I'm like, I'm not doing
we are
grass.
a we are a small company. So, and quite honestly, Heather, I get bored easily, and I need some more entertainment in my life. So by contracting, that's given me lots of entertainment. Let me tell you.
Yep. Oh, I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. And then you don't do snow either, right?
No, no, we take the winters off to rest and rehabilitate.
And
For
learn.
the
Like
most
there's
part,
so much learning too that happens over the winter between Congress, professional development seminars through LO. Like there's tons of stuff to do in winter besides shovel snow.
absolutely, absolutely, and we are Landscape Ontario members, and we you do utilize those things. So, the Congress for sure, professional development courses.
Yep.
I've put one of my current employees, through the apprenticeship program. I
Awesome.
now am on to my second one, so that's working out quite well. So yeah, there is stuff to do in the winter other than just fix everything we broke. So
Right. Right. Uh, so just funny. So my brain totally is taking a little bit of a sidestep here because you just mentioned you're on your second apprenticeship or a second apprentice staff member because
staff
LO
member,
through Landscape Ontario, the apprenticeship program. Maybe you can correct me because I don't actually know. But through Landscape Ontario, I think it's a 3-year program, right? 3-year apprenticeship?
too.
Okay, so it's 2 years of school, 2 seasons working. Is that how that works?
Yeah, so over the winter, the kids go to school, right? And then they get their hours when they're on site,
Yeah.
right? So, and then after they finish 2 years of schooling, they have to finish their hours. Then they can write the Red Seal test
Wow. And that's for
to
the
be
horticultural technician, Red Seal.
for a horticultural technician. That's correct.
Right. And I think
Yeah,
there's a monetary like payout and kickback or assistance, not just for the employer for taking on an apprentice and training them, but also for the apprentice themselves, right?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. They get $1,000 each year they complete, and $2,000 when they write the exam.
Holy
So,
smokes.
yeah, so that it's a bit of incentive for them,
Yeah,
and it helps with us push younger generation into the industry, right? And if they're
right,
unsure about what they want to do, and I can provide them that access, then it works out for both of us.
right. And it just levels up the whole sort of bar for the level of professionalism in our industry, right? In our
Well, that's
profession, because we're not all, I was gonna say we're not all guys with a wheelbarrow and a pickup truck, but I bit my tongue. I bit my tongue. That's not what I meant to say. But some of us with a truck and a wheelbarrow or a Honda Civic and a wheelbarrow, we have integrity, right?
sure.
We know what we're charging. We deliver on all of our promises. We do what we say what we're going to do. But there are a lot of people out there who don't. And
Yes,
because they have a pickup truck and a wheelbarrow or a Honda Civic and a wheelbarrow, they're going around and selling services and they take the check and then they disappear, right?
that's the reality of some trades. That is for sure. So
Yeah,
we try to keep it upper class, as far as business services, and
absolutely.
in that we get upper class clients, right? So
Yep,
that that's worked out in our favor.
absolutely. And that's what I tell all my clients, even if they don't end up going for my services, at that first consultation, it's like, hey, even if you don't feel like this is a right fit, make sure you go to Landscape Ontario's website. There's a thing right in there that says find your contractor. You put in what you need, you put in the city you're looking for, and you will get a professionally vouched for company, right?
Absolutely, right? Right. So
Who
that's the
isn't
hope is
necessarily
that
your friend.
they apply the same principles, that everybody does. Is kind of the hope, right? So,
Yeah, very cool.
oh yeah,
So I have lots that I want to talk about.
good.
I can't wait to get into it. But before we do that, I want to ask you what you're drinking.
I am going with the classic Guinness here.
Guinness. Excellent.
So I have been a fan of the Guinness beer since traveling to Ireland and tasting the real thing right
Yeah.
out of St. James Gate. There's always a misconception. A lot of
Yep.
people have it, and then once your eyes have been opened, then you're like, you know what? That's pretty good beer.
Yep.
So I tend to have one of these, a few times a week, and it's just nice after work, and
Absolutely.
kind of feels it's kind of like an appetizer, but not,
Yeah, it's
it's
thick
technically a
enough,
light beer, so that's
right?
good, right?
I know that's the misconception. It's I only realized
Right?
this I guess recently. Somebody else was actually on the show. It's like,
Yeah,
Guinness is actually a light beer. Like,
it is.
I mean, just because you need a knife and a fork to drink it, uh does doesn't mean it's heavy. Like it doesn't but anyway. So when were
No, but
you
when I
in
was,
sorry, go ahead.
it's that
I was going to ask
I
you when you
said,
were in Ireland.
probably was about 9 years ago.
Okay.
Went with my brother on a business trip, and that was the opportunity to go there. So we traveled to Ireland to Dublin, and then we went over to Scotland on an extended tour, which we bypassed the bus that was supposed to take us to Edinburgh from Glasgow, and we drove north to the Isle of Skye, where our family heritage comes from. So we took full
Oh,
advantage of the cheap flight to get over there. So
man,
it was
that's
quite a
cool.
trip,
I
right?
bet. Oh my
The only
gosh,
thing
my
I didn't do, the only thing I didn't do while I was there was go to the botanical gardens at Edinburgh, and I could not.
what?
I just couldn't fit into our schedule.
Yep.
And when I got back, I had a beverage with one of our colleagues, Michael Pascoe, and that
Yep.
was the first thing that he said to me was, "You went to the botanical gardens, right?" And I was like, "Well, no, I didn't. I couldn't. It didn't fit into our
Uh-uh.
itinerary." And he's like, "Probably one of the best in the world, man. You missed out." And I was like, "Well, now I got a reason to go back." So,
Yeah. Are you guys at least still friends?
oh yeah, we're good.
I just was double checking. I know of, I mean, everybody knows Michael Pasco, but he doesn't know me. So I was in the landscape design program when he was teaching the Hort Tech program, but we never really like crossed paths.
Yeah.
So,
No,
um,
he was one of
very
my
cool.
professors when I was back at Fanshawe. So I've known him for quite some time, and he actually lives in Strathroy, so he's not far. So porch beers are available when I need them.
I love that. That's awesome.
Right.
Okay, I might have to ring him up and be like, "Hey, Michael, so you don't know me, but can I bring you a beer and pick your brain?" But anyway,
Bet you're
I'm
there for two
actually,
hours.
what's that?
I bet you're there for 2 hours.
Oh, at least. Like I know he is a wealth of information and expertise.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I'm drinking a beer and I think so this is a new one to me, but I think it's called Damn It. I don't
Okay.
know. Does that
That's fun.
actually can we see
That's
that?
fun.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that's what it's called.
Oh, nice.
It is, I do, caution, disclaimer, this is an adult podcast. So if you have to swear, then let it out, because
Yeah.
sometimes I do. So everybody be warned. But this is a hazy light IPA from Lake of Bays Brewing. Another great
Nice.
one out of Ontario. I'm trying to remember where Lake of Bays is. That's like Muskoka? No, Temagami
Yeah.
area, Lake of Bays, right? But yeah, this is really good.
Nice.
Baysville. Baysville, Ontario. So
There you
anyway,
go.
cheers to you, my friend. So glad to get you on the
Absolutely.
show. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and oh my gosh, I got so many things planned for you. Mwah, mwah. So, first thing I want to ask you, because I want to make sure that we don't forget to talk about it, is on June 14th. So this Saturday, not Sunday, right?
Yes.
Saturday. Yes,
Yep.
this
Saturday.
Saturday, you're hosting a garden tour. There's 8 different gardens that your company has installed over the years, and they're actually opening them to the public for a garden tour.
Yes. Yep. That's true.
That's
Um,
awesome, Jay. Like awesome. Awesome. So not only these are gardens that you've installed over a number of years, so people have the opportunity to see a garden that is mature, not just,
yes.
6 months old or a
Not
year
just new.
old. What's the oldest garden
Yeah.
on the tour?
Our oldest one is 14 years old.
Oh my gosh. That's so
So
cool.
yeah. So we had an opportunity to get one of my first ever gardens. But unfortunately they didn't want to open it up to the public. So completely understood, but that would have been a 20-year garden.
I was just gonna
So
ask, is that the one on Timber Drive?
no, it's not that one.
Is
No,
that one
that
on
one's
the
on
tour?
that one's on Victoria. No, Timber Drive is not on the tour this year.
Ah,
No.
that is one of my favorite gardens in the whole city.
That was a fun layout. It was a good sized project, and it was an interesting build because of the slope that was in the backyard
Massive slope. Like you look
and
out the
how we
backyard and it's
managed
almost
that.
a wall. And
Yeah.
it's just absolutely stunning. So I wanted the opportunity to tell you publicly, hello. I'm not sure who that is. But it's an extraordinary garden. So I've actually done site visits at the 2 neighboring properties for 2 different companies. So I
Oh,
was
nice.
at the one company and I'm like looking over the fence. And I'm like, that's McKinnon's job. I know that one. And then just recently I was at the other neighbor's house up on her hill, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I'm back. Look, I'm so close to Jay McKinnon's garden." But anyway, so this is 8 gardens. The event is on Eventbrite, so people can buy tickets. It's like 27
Yes.
something. It's like $30.
Yep.
Um, and all proceeds are going to the Ronald McDonald House.
Yes. Yep. So
Very
Ronald
cool.
McDonald House, obviously a good charity,
Yep.
not-for-profit charity, helping out a lot of kids that just need it, right?
Hmm.
Helps a lot of people in South Western Ontario, and we've known people that have used the facility before, and so we just thought it was a good opportunity to raise some money for their contribution or campaign. Sorry.
Right. And it's a self-guided garden tour, right? So that we all
Yep.
start at a single address and then we're kind of given
Yep.
a list of properties, or is it a map, and we just kind of follow the
Yeah. So
instructions,
when
right?
you purchase your ticket, there will be a confirmation email that'll come through. With that confirmation, you'll get a digital copy of a passport that will show you the addresses and a little write-up about each garden.
Oh, so
So
cool.
that's the opportunity to get it on your phone.
Yep.
We're also at each garden we will have our own hard copies to
Yep.
pass around because some people prefer to sift through the copies, right? So
Yep.
so yeah. So we're looking forward to it. We've been busy, keeping them up to date and fine tuning the pruning and such to make sure it's looking its best
Yep.
for
Best of the
this
best.
for this showcase. So yeah, so two things. One, we're celebrating. Two, we're showcasing, and three, we're fundraising. So we're hoping to get as many people out as possible and
That's
see where it goes
awesome.
from there.
Well, we're going to do a push this week. We'll see
Yeah,
how many people, if anybody's listening to the podcast and they end up getting a ticket, reach out to me, reach out to Jay, and just say, "Hey, heard it on the podcast. Let's do this thing." Right? And I don't know what
perfect.
we'll do, but myself, on
Yeah,
behalf of Hops and Hedges and our sponsor, we'll do anything special for anybody who buys a ticket for your garden tour from listening to it on
perfect.
the podcast. So,
Oh, fabulous.
I
Much
don't know what it's going to
appreciated.
be
Much
yet,
appreciated.
but it's going to be amazing.
Nice.
So we'll do something. So once again,
We've
that
had
is,
the great opportunity to build a lot of unique gardens.
yeah,
fun for us to showcase it, to show what we can do. And then even if you can't go, just even, a donation to the cause, that goes a long way as well. So
exactly. There's nothing wrong with buying a ticket to support the cause. And if
for
you don't
sure,
show up, I mean, you're not going to see the 8 beautiful gardens, but it's still supporting a great cause. So I
absolutely,
will be, I'm
absolutely,
getting the group together where I can fit myself and four in the car. So I'm bringing a full car.
perfect.
We're going to do it. So
Take the
again,
wheelbarrow out and you're all set, right?
yeah, I'm gonna have to clean out all of the dirt, the sticks. I've got, I think, 40 planter pots in my Civic right now. Like
Nice.
it's my work truck, and it's a
That's
great
good.
little work truck. But
Good.
so that
Good.
is this Saturday, June 14th. It's 2025. In case somebody's listening to this in the future, okay, it's 2025. And it's from 9 to 4. Like the
Nine to
gardens are
four.
open for you to visit during that
Yep.
time. So
hmm
very
Yeah,
cool.
it's a busy weekend. Obviously, Father's Day weekend.
Yep.
So it's there's lots going on. We were trying to figure out what the good time of year was to do this. There's so many different opportunities and different things are in bloom,
Yep.
right? You're trying to figure out people's vacation schedules. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of factors involved, and ultimately we just had to pick a date.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we ended up on, and we'll
You'll
kind of go
never
from
be able
there.
to
So,
make everybody happy, right?
well,
It'll
that's an
never
understanding,
work
right?
for, but I do think, personally, I think gardens look the best in June. They haven't
Well,
been
right?
hit yet with the summer heat, right in that intense July
Exactly.
and August sun. You get some of
Exactly.
those late spring blooms, but then you get also the like the early summer blooms as well happening at the same
Yep.
time. So
Absolutely.
hopefully a little rain to make everything look vivid,
A
right?
little
So
fresh.
I haven't checked the weather for Saturday yet, but rain or shine, right? I will be there.
It's rain or shine. Yep. So we've got
Perfect.
volunteers on hand. So we're hoping for more sunshine than rain. A Friday night rain would be brilliant, really.
That'd be
So we'll see how
great.
that goes.
Yeah. I don't I won't melt, so that'll be fine. Um, so a couple other things. So one of the things I love asking people on the show is about their mentors. I really believe in mentorship. I've been the beneficiary of some incredible mentors in my life, both past and present, and I'm sure in the future. So I love to take a moment of gratitude to thank people who've helped me along my way because I know I didn't get here by myself,
For
right?
sure.
And so I always ask guests for their who are some mentors they'd like to give a shout out to. And you actually mentioned three people. So we've got Jurgen Partridge, Steve Hinckley, and Steve Check. Can you give us a
hmm
lowdown and give a little shout out to these people? How were they so amazing for you?
So Jurgen and Steve were the owners of Jurgen Partridge. Jurgen was the designer, and Steve was the project manager. So he was also vice president of the company.
Hmm.
But yeah, Jurgen's design influence is quite incredible. He's been in the business for probably 50 years,
Okay.
and uh, watching him think and watching him try to come up with ideas kind of inspired me to kind of push the envelope and think outside the box.
Hmm.
And then Steve was the one who kind of made it work because Jurgen was pretty good at that. Well, here's our idea. You guys figure out how to build it.
Right.
So we can make pretty pictures, but how can we build it, right?
Hmm.
So between the two of them, it was quite an inspiration in how we were able to come up with construction of Jurgen's ideas.
Right.
And Stephen Check, who owns Nature's Image in London,
Ah, yes.
when I moved to the area from Mississauga, he brought me in, and I worked with him for a bit, and then I left, and then he called me back to to work with him because I actually left the landscape field for about a year and a half. And he said, you need to build, come build with me and let's work something out. So I worked with him for 3 years as a subcontractor, and
Hmm.
that's when I started my business. And so I slowly worked, doing his jobs and then some of mine. And
Yep.
then over the course of 3 years, I've gained my own clientele and I didn't need his services anymore. But I've still known him for 20 plus years, probably 23 at this point.
Hmm.
So yeah, so probably more. Well, who's counting? But still.
Yep.
Uh so yeah, between the three of them, right? Jurgen from a design point of view, and Stephen from a construction point of view, and Steve Check from, you know, uh, coming back to the industry and starting to build for myself. So yeah,
Wow.
so credit to those guys.
That's uh that's really awesome what you mentioned about, Stephen Check saying, "Hey, you got to build." And it sounds like he was there to support you while you grew your business and you were helping him
Yeah,
at
he
the
did.
same time, right? There's this sort of synchronicity and I don't know if serendipity is the right word, but kind of a
Yeah,
quid pro quo, that happens.
for
And I
sure.
see this so much amongst
Yeah,
among I would say professional like landscape industry professionals where you're over here and somebody else is over here, and if you combine your efforts you can do incredible things, right?
yeah,
Rather than trying
yeah.
to do it all by yourself, because I don't think we can.
Well, it worked out well because when we first started, I was basically renting his employees to do my jobs,
Right.
right?
Yep.
So I would finish his jobs, I would schedule my own, and then, the after my second year, I was doing half my own jobs and half of his jobs, and by the third year, it was probably 90% of mine and 10% of his, right? So
Yep.
it was a great transition. It was a great way to start
Yep.
as a guy who just again started with a truck and a wheelbarrow, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so um, so it got me off the ground and um, let me, I guess I could say, make some early mistakes, right, without too much
Mm-hmm.
fault, right?
Yep.
So it was a good transition for me, and then we were able to build it after that, right? So
Awesome. And so even before that, I'm curious because I sometimes on the show I refer to it as we're all like horticultural heroes, right? So we have a like an origin story, like a superhero
yep,
does. So some of us start with a work truck and a wheelbarrow. And I'm not by any means talking down to that. Like I said, my work truck is a Honda Civic, right? But you have to have some sort of passion, some sort of drive and determination to make it work, regardless of the tools that you have or
yeah.
that you have access to. But going back even before that, did you always think you'd end up in landscaping?
Well, no. High school, I had a passion for art,
Okay.
so I like to draw. And my mother and my grandmother were avid gardeners. So
Huh.
that's kind of how the two probably bonded.
Yeah.
And then I went to Fanshawe for landscape design after high school. So yeah, so I'd say that's probably where it kind of started, right? I grew up in farm country, so I wasn't shy of work.
Huh.
And then bringing the artistic value to it, that was able to help create what we can create today.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
so
uh I had no idea there was so many similarities between you and myself until just hearing your story. It sounded like me because
there you
I
go.
was in farm country. I worked tobacco. I worked at a tree farm.
There we go.
I loved
Nice.
art. So I was
Yeah,
always painting, doing collage, a lot of abstract acrylics. I like thick paint, that you can like
right.
touch
Yeah,
and texture,
yeah,
photography. But because you live in the country, you look after your property. It's what you
yeah,
do. You have land.
yeah,
You are a steward of that land and you look after it. And I had no
absolutely.
idea. I had no idea that people would pay me to look after their land for them.
Right. Yeah.
Like, too
So yeah,
perfect.
so my eyes opened up when
Mm.
when I was in college, I went and I worked in Chatham for a garden center. So we started off with some low key kind of standard landscapes, right?
Yep.
Um, then I took a job in the city in Markham, and so I moved to the GTA, and my eyes opened up even more where it was a bit of ultimately a culture shock, yes, but the
Yep.
quality of work definitely jumped up, right?
Yeah.
So I worked with another fellow there, Eric Lee, and I worked for him for 2 years, and he kind of pulled me out of farm country. I met him at Congress actually,
Huh.
and he said, "Well, if you're ever looking for a job in the city, look me up." So I did. So I packed up my stuff and left.
Wow.
Um, and then yeah, from there, then you know, we moved to a different part of the city, and I changed jobs, which, funny enough, turned out to be Jurgen Partridge,
Hmm.
who my current boss, Eric Lee, used to work for. So
Small world.
he actually, yeah, it was a small world. So I actually showed up at that interview there without a resume.
Yep.
And he's like, actually, well, I was actually through Steve Hinckley, my interview, and I told him who I was, and if he got, because I back then I mailed my resume, right, and they
Yep.
didn't get it. So he's like, well, we got a call from Eric Lee, so we know a lot about you already. So I was like, oh, okay. So,
Perfect.
anyways, I got the job without a resume, and I stayed there for 4 years. So,
Wow.
but that opened my eyes up to what's really possible because Jurgen had a stake in some really high end projects, right? So when you're working with landscapes with no budgets, right on Lakeshore and in Mississauga, there's a lot of zeros on the end of those jobs, and it's quite amazing to see what can happen. So
Right.
that's, I think, where my creativity jumped up a little bit to see what's actually possible.
Yep.
And then when I was able to start my own company, I was able to, push the envelope with and get people to trust me
Yeah.
to expand on that, right? So yeah, so it's kind of worked out.
Man, I've only had one opportunity where there was a no budget situation, and that's when
Yeah.
I was in Cairo, Egypt on a work exchange. So I worked at a
Oh,
landscape architecture firm and
oh,
interior
fun.
design firm. So it was kind of landscape architecture, interior design, and there was a client and there was no budget. And it's my
Yeah.
only ever
Yeah.
experience having that, and it was very hard for me. It
Yeah.
was very hard to, I consider myself a
Yeah.
creative person, but it was like my brain just full stop. Like I couldn't fathom the money and the numbers they were talking about.
Yeah.
Like there was talk of a
Yeah. I
marble
remember.
driveway with gold
Right.
inlays on their driveway.
Yeah.
And as soon as that came into the conversation, I was like, I'm out. I,
Right.
you do it. I'll watch.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I am in over my
I'll take
head.
notes.
Yeah.
I remember doing some of my first quotes when I was, just young in the business, and then, then you get one particular client who wants a lot of work done,
Yeah.
and then you start adding it up, and you're like, this is $50,000. Like, this is a lot of money,
Yep.
right? And so then you're like, I don't even know if I should present this.
Right.
It's like they're going to tell me no and go pound salt, right? But you come to realize that you're worth the money that you charge, and then that takes many years as well.
Yeah.
Um, and even, I mean, even coming from Mississauga, where we were on $1 million job sites,
Yep.
but when it's your own stick, right, and you have to try and sell that job, it
Mm-hmm.
puts you in a new perspective.
Absolutely. It's so
So
interesting what you're talking about because it's something that I would say I'm a work in progress about
sure,
when it comes to limited beliefs around money, right?
yeah,
Because when you're an employee, you're given so much an hour or a salary, and you base your hourly work on what your hourly pay is. But then as
yeah,
a company, you start adding things up and those costs and the overhead and the cost of goods, and you're putting together these jobs. And I know exactly what you're talking about because I remember my first big one. It was 110. I'll never forget it.
nice.
It was 110 plus HST. And I just kind of, like, after I did the estimate and I sat back and I was like, there's no way. There's no way somebody's going to pay $110,000 for a small garden and a driveway. It was a roundabout driveway, but like,
Yeah,
there's no way. And they didn't even bat an eye.
yeah,
And then my brain started spiraling, thinking, oh no, I must have gone too low. I must have done something wrong. I'm going to be in the hole, blah, 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 blah. Right? And the thing is that we set that price based on what we think we're worth, but
Yeah.
other people's ideas and concepts of money is not the same as ours.
No.
So if you think your work is
No.
only worth
Oh, that's
$15
given
an
me
hour.
trouble actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, you broke
Yeah,
up
that's
there.
right.
I didn't hear.
It's hard for me still even to put quotes out because you deem it's worth and would I pay that, all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
that's why I have Crystal and a computer program to tell me this is what you need to charge
Yeah,
for you to make money, right? So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll take a little bit off, but so I can sleep. But this is where this is what we got to present. So
yeah. And the thing is too, like your cost is one thing, your break even cost is another thing. But you
oh
are
yeah,
in the business of making money. You are not a charity,
well
right?
that's the
And that's
thing,
really
right? And
hard to, it's hard.
yeah, especially when you love what you do, right?
Right.
And it's to charge money for it and to but when you have things you have to account for, right? So
Absolutely.
it's a toss up. And I know as I was when I was younger, it was tougher, right? My overhead was lower, right?
Yep.
But as time goes on, it grows. But um, yeah, all those other things you have to consider. I was definitely
Absolutely.
a contractor turned businessman. I was definitely not a businessman first. So
Yeah. And I'm
uh,
a designer turned businesswoman because I
right,
had no intention of starting a business and then COVID told me otherwise. So,
yeah,
and here we are.
right,
But
exactly.
one thing that I've noticed, and there was something that you put on the questionnaire that I'm gonna get to in a second, but um, you were talking about between Crystal and the software that you have, and it tells you what you need to charge in order to make money. That's
Yep.
something that I've learned over the last 12 years in the industry, that if you are not just comfortable with your numbers, but if you are confident in those numbers,
Oh, sure.
right? If you know what your costs are, if you know what your profit margin is, and you know what you need to charge in order to make money and make sure everybody gets paid, it's a lot easier to sell the job,
Yeah.
right? When
Well,
you're
you have
just
confidence in
guessing,
it.
yeah, which I think a lot of people do early on in business. They go on a site visit and they're like, "Oh, that's like, I don't know, 250 square feet of sod and maybe like a 20 by 20 patio. I don't know, like $21,000."
Mhm. Yeah, it's one way to ballpark, right? So yeah, I'm not allowed to ballpark anymore.
Good. Good.
I'm
I
still
was just
I'm
gonna
still pulling
say,
up the numbers
don't,
from 10 years ago.
no more ballparking. That is
Right?
my maybe one piece of
Yeah.
advice for anybody listening who's new in business. Anytime a client says, "Well, can you just give me a general ballpark?" The answer is no.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
cannot. I will figure out the numbers and I will tell you exactly what the number is.
Yeah. What we like to do is we like to find out what we're dealing with ahead of time.
Set
So
that
by
expectation. What
taking
is your budget?
exactly, and a lot of people don't like talking about money, but you learn over time that in the end, it's the most important part. So if you know what you're working with, you're not going to waste anybody's time,
Yep.
right? So, but some people, the first thing they say is, well, we don't know what it's worth. And my reply to that is usually, it's like, okay, let's say we're buying a car. First, we got to figure out what dealership we're going to, right?
Right.
You know, are we starting off at the Mercedes, or are we gonna maybe start at the Kia dealership and maybe get a high-end Kia, right?
Right.
So there's there's factors involved, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
one that's actually that sales thing works actually quite well. So
That's a great analogy because some clients
right,
really have no idea. So it's like, even if you
right,
don't have a number in your head,
yeah,
if you were to buy a car, would you be going to Mercedes or would you be going to a
yeah,
used car lot? And if it's
exactly,
not one of those, then where on the spectrum, right? And
yep,
it's not about making them emotional or it's not about
no,
making fun of anybody. It's about getting that clarification,
yep.
right? And a
And there's a
lot of
lot of
clients,
times,
they just don't know.
yeah, there's a lot of times that we can keep to a similar design,
Yep,
but maybe modify your materials a little bit to get them within budget, right?
right.
So it's all part of the package that we put together. So
Absolutely. It's so important. And
mhm,
as much, we can always say, well, do you have a budget for this year? Because maybe you only have 5,000 to do this year. and 5,000
Mhm.
next year. And sometimes even when I'm having that conversation, they're like, "You mean my garden can be $10,000?" Right? And I'm like, "Actually, $10,000 is really low for a project because people don't know. People
Well,
don't
plants are
know."
expensive.
Right? And so it's a really important conversation to have. I always like using
Absolutely.
the images from the Landscape Ontario Awards because it actually
Yep.
shows the budget for the job.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
like using those pictures to show my clients. It's like, okay, well, if you're looking for $10,000, I don't even have an image to show you. I mean, I do for my own work, right? But there's not many award-winning $10,000 projects in Landscape
Yeah.
Ontario. Just
Yeah.
saying, Landscape
Mhm.
Ontario, maybe we can have some awards for us smaller guys. Just saying, just saying. Anyway, so what I am getting into in a roundabout way is a little bit of advice that you had put on your pre-interview questionnaire. And I always like asking people, what would you tell somebody who's just starting out? And you said grow slowly.
Mhm.
That is gold.
Yeah.
So can you speak on
Well,
that from your own perspective?
I mean, it's there's a lot of uh, benefits to owning your own business. There's a lot of misconceptions about owning your own business. Cash flow is probably one of the most important things. But you can go to the bank, you can get a loan, and you can go buy a whole bunch of brand new stuff. But now you got to pay for it, right? So and there's a lot of mistakes that are made. Whether it's business wise or whether it's you're trying something new and construction based or maintenance or whatever you're in, right?
Yep.
Um, so it gives you an opportunity to maybe make those mistakes at a lower level, so they don't cost you so much.
Right.
Um, but um, but yeah, it's if you can, and it really depends on your business plan, where you want to see yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're a small company. We've always been a smaller company. So that's always something that I knew that I wanted, right?
Yep.
If you have aspirations of having 20 guys, well, that's going to take a bit more work, right?
Right.
So, but by growing slow, it worked out well in two ways. One for our client base, because we were able to pick and choose our clients.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need the work, you know.
Right.
Early on, I needed as much as I could, right?
Yep.
After 5 to 7 years, right, then you can kind of pick and choose a little bit, and you do that in your pricing when you're pricing jobs, right?
Yep.
So, so that way you're able to, have a more of a relationship with your clients and an understanding what they're looking for, and
Right.
that's for us. That seemed to be a good way to grow our business.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's always keeping up with the Joneses because then they tell their friends, and then we're like, oh, well, he had this, so maybe we can do this, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you treat your clients well, the word will travel, right? But it takes
And
time.
it does take time, right? But that's, one of the best ways to grow a business is through word of mouth,
Yeah.
right? So,
Uh, what was the other thing you said was hold on, I have to get this right. I'm not sure where it is, but it was the um under promise and over deliver.
yeah, yeah,
That's another good one with your
yeah.
clients, right?
With your clients, you want to overservice them, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure they have everything they need. You want to communicate with them as much as possible
Mm-hmm.
to keep them up to date on things, because not having communication is almost a sign, right? Whereas
Yep.
just if you know that you can't be at that site that day or for that next few days because something happened, something you got to be somewhere else, whatever the reason is,
Yep.
you have your own reasons why you can't be there.
Right.
But as long as you convey that information, then there's an understanding.
Yeah.
And once they understand that, they're like, okay, well, life happens, he'll be back,
Yep.
and that's just it. But if they go without communication, that creates a little bit of a black hole in your what they think of you, right? So,
Yeah. Well, and people's imaginations can go wild. I've
well, there's that
learned
that
this the
there's
hard
that
way
too,
myself, right?
right?
That, somebody, I had a design job and it wasn't urgent, so it went on the back burner.
Yep.
And it apparently was more urgent than I thought it was, but I
Yeah.
wasn't communicating, right?
Yeah.
So that's something I'm still working on because I'm at that 5 to 7 year point in business that you mentioned,
Yeah.
where I'm very
Yeah.
selective of the people that I'm choosing to work with.
Yeah.
But I'm also at that point where I'm slightly overwhelmed doing it all by myself.
Yeah.
So I'm at that point where I'm like, huh, maybe next year I'll be getting a co-op student or an apprentice
Yeah.
because I'm,
That's how it all starts, right? That's just
ah,
part of growth,
oh God,
right?
it's so scary. So
It
that's
is
where I'm at.
scary.
It
It is
is.
scary, right?
It is.
And then after you get 6 or 7 employees and you're looking at payroll every month
Oh,
or your
no,
year
no.
end, and it's just
Stop.
like,
Oh gosh, no. I
wow.
can't even. No, 6 or 7. No, not 6 or 7 employees. Maybe two. Maybe two. That's like my big dream. I
Good.
don't want employees, I don't think. So, hats off to you, but no. No. That's no. No. Sorry. My anxiety just went through the roof for a quick second. So lastly, but not least, we did mention the garden tour, so I'm just going to shout that out again. I am going to put a link somewhere in the description for this podcast
Yep.
episode, so hopefully people can find it. Congrats again on your 20th year in business.
Thank you.
Kudos to you. That is really awesome. So, but lastly, you mentioned I always ask people their book recommendation because I'm an addict of nonfiction. And you mentioned David Chilton's The Wealthy Barber. So
Hmm.
can you just what was your biggest takeaway from that book? Why was it so impactful for you?
Well, not being a business person, I had to start simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was at the top of the list for new business owners, right? Just talking about different points of business, the different things you have to think about, your considerations, right? If you're going to be turnkey, all kinds of concepts and different kinds of concepts of uh, of business, right? So,
Yeah.
and he's a Canadian guy, right? So that kind of helps, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so it was, quite honestly, I don't read a lot, but it was one of those things where I think I should do this because I think
Yeah.
I need to,
Mm-hmm.
right? So yeah, I mean that was a good one. That was a good one, right?
And did you
And
read
the
it
other
or did you
one,
get it on Audible, like an audiobook?
oh no, this was 20 years ago. Right? I don't think that
Okay.
existed.
Sorry. Sorry. Right. I forgot. Your 20-year-old business. Right. Sorry.
Yeah, no, the fingertips got dirty, right? So,
Absolutely. And was there another book you were going to say? I didn't mean to cut you off.
what was another one? Oh, the E-Myth.
The E-Myth.
I
You are
forget
not
who
the
wrote that
first
one.
one. I'm going to put that out down
The
again.
E-Myth, and then they had the E-Myth Contractor Edition. So I went through those ones.
Okay. What's the contractor
Yeah.
one that I did? The Miracle Morning for
Oh, okay.
for entrepreneurs. That's what it was.
Oh, nice. Oh,
That
okay,
was
nice.
I enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
Okay,
nice.
the E-Myth. That is on my list. I've read both the Wealthy Barber and Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah,
And for me, it was just a bit of an eye-opener to think about how much impact your childhood has on how you run business and view money as an adult,
right.
right? If you're growing up with a quote unquote rich dad, they're going to talk to you openly about money and how to use
Yeah,
money and whatnot. If you don't have a wealthy parent, then what you're brought up with money is very different,
for
right?
sure.
So very interesting stuff. So, Jay, it's been an awesome conversation. Thank you so much for coming on the show and telling me a little bit
Great.
more about your story and your business and this amazing garden tour that you're doing this weekend. So, once again, enjoy the rest of your Guinness. I'm nearly done mine,
Thank you, Heather.
and I'm sure I will
Lovely
see you
chat.
around.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll have to do it again sometime.
All right, we'll see you on the tour.
Okay, you betcha. Cheers.
All right. Bye for now.
That concludes this week's episode, hosted by me, Heather Gerard at My Landscape Artist. Now, before you go, here's some info about our sponsor, ext.tech. In today's fast-paced world, your landscaping business needs modern solutions to keep up with the change. That's where EXT comes in. EXT is revolutionizing the way you manage projects and streamlines your landscaping, snow removal, and construction operations. Instead of juggling 5 different software packages, endless spreadsheets, losing track of leads, and missing out on potential sales, you could be leveraging AI job routing, client management, and financial insights with a modern mobile app that employees love to use. With EXT's flat rate pricing, you'll never be caught off guard. If you're ready to revolutionize and grow your landscaping business, visit ext.tech today to learn more. And for additional savings, use the code HOPS10 at checkout, or just tell them that Heather sent you. See you next week for another episode of Hops and Hedges.